Hello and welcome to the panel at Dublin BIC. Today is Monday, the 13th of July 2020, and we're here today to talk about an imminent investment opportunity for startup enterprises from Enterprise Ireland. To do that, I'm joined by Teri Smith, who is a manager with the High Potential Startup Division in Enterprise Ireland, by Sheelagh Daly, Entrepreneurship Manager with Enterprise Ireland, and by Suzanne Moloney, Founder and CEO of Hidramed Solutions. You're all very welcome.
Hi, Martin.
Teri, if I could start with yourself, that imminent investment opportunity that's there for startups coming from Enterprise Ireland right now is the Competitive Start Fund. Could you tell us about that, please?
Okay, so Martin, the Competitive Start Fund has been open now since the 7th of July for applications. We have two competitions, a Women Entrepreneurship competition and an All Sectors competition. And they would both run right up until the 18th of August. Closing time would be 3 p.m. on the 18th of August. So we're running two competitions. And the objective is to support early stage companies and entrepreneurs that have an export-focused opportunity in the internationally traded services or manufacturing sectors. So the sectors that Enterprise Ireland typically supports. So the fund is running since 2011 now, and we're keen to support up to 40 investments across the two calls.
Okay, and that investment is a set amount. It's €50,000 going into the business in return for ordinary equity for 10% of the business. And in addition, those companies get access to a wide range of supports from Enterprise Ireland.
Yes, Martin. So the investment type is in ordinary shares for 10% in ordinary shares, 50k, and that is tranched. Two separate tranches of 25k for the successful applicants. The requirement from the entrepreneurial company is an investment of 5,000 prior to the release of the first tranche of 25,000. So it's not all about the funding, although it is very important. The company is then assigned a development advisor. They may already be an Enterprise Ireland early stage client. If they're not, they will be onboarded into Enterprise Ireland to be assigned a development advisor to support them, mentor them, help them get access to markets, support the development of the product. And most importantly, the Innovate program is there to support the Women Entrepreneurship call. And that's a 12-week program that is designed to support the skills development and to help in the development of the business model with pitching and really overall to get to the company to a seed investment stage.
Okay, so just to be clear on that, there's actually two competitions. One is for all entrepreneurs, and the second is only open to businesses that have a significant involvement from women as founders. What is that criteria exactly to take part in the female entrepreneur competition?
Okay, so in the Women Entrepreneurship competition, the specific requirement is that there needs to be at least one woman who is part of the management team and also holds a minimum of 25% in the voting share capital of the company. And that would be at the point just prior to the first tranche of the Enterprise Ireland investment. So for example, you know, they would look at their capitalization table just after the 5k co-fund. And at that point, they would need to own a minimum of 25% of the voting share capital in the company. So because the competition is also open to individuals, sometimes the company isn't yet incorporated, and you know, an entrepreneur, an individual may apply, and if they are successful, they would then incorporate the company as the investee vehicle, and then that entity then would need to meet the share capital structure. So we do give the opportunity for anyone who doesn't quite meet that criteria that they can apply for the other call. So if for example, an entrepreneur doesn't or isn't going to meet that criteria, or the company won't for the Women Entrepreneurship call, they consider the All Sectors call. And I'd just like to point out, if any entrepreneur company is eligible for either one of those open competitions, they must apply for one of the competitions. And if they have any questions, please contact our helpline, which is csf@enterprise-ireland.com.
Very good. And doing a quick bit of arithmetic, so up to 40 investments, 50,000 each, that's €2 million pot available to be invested in startups in the next number of weeks, a couple of months. Which is great to hear. And the additional piece with the female entrepreneur competition is that the people who are successful in that competition have access to the 12-week accelerator Innovate program. Now, I'm very familiar with that because for the last couple of years, Enterprise Ireland has outsourced the delivery of that program to Dublin BIC, and it's been a great privilege of mine to be involved in it. We start with helping the entrepreneur to establish their value proposition. We look at some of the really critical skills for the entrepreneurs, such as selling into the market, product development, building up a team, their own leadership skills, all building up to pitching their proposal to a real panel of investors and being ready to move on to the next stage of inward investment into their business after the CSF funding. So on that subject, if I could come to you, Sheelagh, as Entrepreneurship Manager in Enterprise Ireland, and I know you have a very significant interest in female entrepreneurship, can you give us a state of the nation on where we are in regard to female entrepreneurship and female involvement in senior levels in business in Ireland today?
Yeah, well, I suppose what I would say, Martin, is significant progress made over the years, and there is evidence that there is increasing numbers of women starting and growing businesses. However, unfortunately, I suppose to say that there is still a persistent imbalance in general across when you look at the self-employed, when you look at the self-employed who employ others, when you look at the people who are captaining the helms of businesses in Ireland. So we're still looking at a sort of 3 times as many men starting and growing businesses in Ireland as women. When we look at the leadership positions and people in the decision-making arena in terms of enterprise, we're still looking at, it's only just over 20% of CEOs of SMEs are women. And when you look at the CEOs of large companies, so companies that are employing more than 250 people, that falls below 10%. So there's still quite a significant imbalance there. Now, one of the things that I suppose Enterprise Ireland has been very successful at is in fact changing or having a significant impact on that gender balance in terms of our high potential startups. So if we look at where we were back in 2011, roughly on average we fund maybe 90 to 100 high potential startups every year. So we actually put investment into these companies. And back in 2011, about 7% of those actually included a woman founder on the founding team. So we put a lot of effort into looking at this and focusing on it and put support around trying to encourage and support more women to look at founding high potential startups. And one of those, in fact, was the Women Entrepreneurship Competitive Start Fund call, which Teri has just been describing. And certainly that has been very successful in terms of shifting the dial. So we've gone from 7% in 2011 to 22% in 2019. So quite a significant result there of putting that focus. But I suppose you're still talking about just over 1 in 5. So it's, there's clearly still some way to go. And I suppose for that reason, Enterprise Ireland at the beginning of last year, we decided that really, as the national government agency for enterprise, that we needed to look at, did we want to try to influence across a broader spectrum in order to address this specific issue around high potential startups, but the need to actually broaden out that view. And so to that end, we developed our new strategy for women in business, which was launched in January of this year. And we have broadened out our objectives. So our focus now, we've 4 objectives. We are continuing to drive an increase of, in women founding high potential startups. But we are also looking at our role in increasing the number of women who become entrepreneurs, increasing the number of women-led companies that have significant ambitions for growth, particularly on export and internationally traded markets. And finally, which is quite a significant change, I suppose, for Enterprise Ireland, we have a specific objective around increasing the number of women in senior leadership roles in Irish companies. And so I suppose what I'd say is that those four objectives are really important, because the way we see it is that each of those objectives is, while it's a standalone objective, they are significantly interconnected. And if you think about it, you can see why that is. So really to achieve one of those objectives, we need to achieve all of those objectives. And so that is, you know, our strategy is published. People are very welcome to look at that. It's online, available on the Enterprise Ireland website. But underpinning each one of those objectives, then we have set out 6 actions. So we've 24 actions overall. We're looking at this as a 6-year strategy. Some of the actions we've already embarked upon. Others are about us trying to influence and collaborate with others in order to make these things happen.
Okay, so Enterprise Ireland is very vigorously promoting female entrepreneurship. There's a lot done. There's more to do. Thank you for that, Sheelagh. On that note, I'm going to come to one of those female entrepreneur founders of a high potential startup company, Suzanne Moloney. You're very welcome again. Suzanne, you're the founder of Hidramed Solutions, which is a medtech company coming up with solutions for people with the condition hidradenitis suppurativa. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And you suffer from that condition yourself. You're also a graduate of the Competitive Start Fund program and the Innovate Accelerator program for female entrepreneurs, I think going back to 2018. Could you begin by telling us what the journey has been like for Hidramed Solutions since then?
Yeah, absolutely. So I graduated the Innovate program. Do you want me to talk a bit about the program, or just what happened since?
Please do, yeah.
So we started the Innovate program towards the end of 2018, and I just actually finished another accelerator called BioExcel, which was teaching me everything I needed to know about medical devices. But what I was lacking in was business acumen, business knowledge, financial projections and planning, and business planning, and creating a really solid business plan. And that's really the highlight of the Innovate program for me, was learning all of that and learning to pitch really effectively, to refine my pitch deck, and to be able to have the confidence to get out there and pitch like crazy on the pitching circuit when you start to fundraise. Because it's a steep learning curve, and the program was divided up into different modules where different topics were covered, and it was really helpful for me as a newbie on the scene to kind of, like a crash course in everything you needed to know before you went out into the big bad world of fundraising. And it all happened very quickly for Hidramed. We started pitching for funding towards the end of 2018, and early 2019 we were really going for it. And we were lucky in some ways, because we had met the right people quite early on. So we were able to agree terms quite quickly and close the deal just before the end of 2019 in August. So I appreciate that that's not the norm. Well, it could be for some companies, but just in speaking to other startups, I know that it normally takes a little bit longer. We just happen to have the right people in the right place at the right time, and it just worked out really well for us.
Wow. And what was, if you can tell us, the level of funding that you took on in that first round?
So it was $1.25 million, and it was in 2 tranches. So the first tranche closed before, when was it? In August, and the second tranche in August 2019. and this second tranche then closed in January 2020.
Okay, wow. So from a €50,000 pre-seed round with the competitive start fund to a 1 million plus round less than a year later is really, really significant. So congratulations on that. How many people are Hidramed Solutions now?
We are a team of 4 full-time employees, and there's some part-time employees as well, and hopefully growing hopefully in the next 6 to 12 months. If all goes according to plan.
Did you also say that there's some new products coming online?
Yeah, so despite everything that's happening with COVID, we were able to continue with our product development. We had initially we'd always wanted to have a pipeline of products, in particular to treat HS to begin with, and then to branch outside of the HS wound care space. So we are bringing out a male version of our current product, which is the top for HS wounds in the armpit, towards the end of the year, and then also boxer briefs for males and females, also towards the end of the year. And yeah, can't wait until they're available. We've had a lot of expressions of interest from patients all over the world, so it's exciting.
Very good. Okay.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that, and thank you for your contribution here today. If I could just summarize, the Competitive Startup Fund call is out there now from Enterprise Ireland. It's available to startup enterprises. It can be a €50,000 investment in your business in return for 10% equity. In the case of female entrepreneurship competitive start fund, there's also an opportunity to complete a 12-week accelerator program. You can get all the details of the competitive start fund on the Enterprise Ireland website, and there is also a workshop provided by Dublin BIC and the other business innovation centres around the country to help you complete the application form, which is a pretty simple application form. And that is taking place on Tuesday, the 21st of July at 10 a.m. You can get details of that on the Dublin BIC website, and similar workshops on the websites of the other business innovation centres around the country. We'd encourage startups to take a look at this opportunity. Obviously, in the case of Suzanne and Hidramed, it was a great kickstart for your launch into the world. Teri Smith from the HPSU division in Enterprise Ireland, and Sheelagh Daly, Entrepreneurship Manager with Enterprise Ireland. Thank you very much for your time here today.
Thank you, Martin.
Thank you.